Hi everyone, this is Dave Bryson back with a new episode of our Spatial How-To series. This time we're talking about trade areas, specifically what they are, why they're important to business, and how you can use Alteryx to create better trade areas. First, let's talk about what a trade area is. A trade area, simply defined, is the geographic area from which a particular business location draws its customer base. Now, why is it important for businesses to understand their trade areas? Well, first, not all trade areas are the same, just like not all businesses are the same. A trade area's size is generally defined by how far customers are willing to travel to get to your location. For most businesses, there's an average that someone will be willing to travel to get to that location. This is usually measured in either distance or time. Above that distance or time, your customers are probably not going to travel to that location. So understanding your customers' travel habits and modes of travel, do they walk, ride a bike, drive a car, is critical to defining a trade area. Why is this so important? Well, at the limits of your trade areas, you'll probably want to open another location. And that's how businesses spread across a city, state, or even an entire country. And size matters here. If your trade areas are too large, you risk cannibalizing your existing locations because your trade areas overlap with other locations in your same store network. This famously happened to Starbucks during their rapid expansion. If trade areas are too small, you risk not covering key demographic areas and losing customers to competitors that can come in and occupy that empty space. One way I like to describe trade areas is using two example businesses, IKEA and McDonald's. Both are retail establishments that sell goods and services to the general public, but from a trade area perspective, they are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Let's take IKEA. Usually in a major metropolitan area, you may have only one, maybe two IKEAs in that city. That's it. Now, think of McDonald's. How many McDonald's are there in your city? Can you even count them all? There are dozens, if not hundreds. Why this difference? Well, ask yourself this. How far would you drive or walk to go to an IKEA? 30 minutes? An hour? Probably. IKEA is a destination where people go to spend time shopping, then take away goods that they'll likely keep for a while. Now, would you drive an hour to go to a McDonald's? Probably not, especially if you live in a city. McDonald's is a convenience. You want it to be fast and easily accessible because you go there to eat. And when you're hungry, you want to eat relatively soon. So McDonald's needs to be convenient for people, whereas IKEA can afford to be a destination because they know people come there relatively infrequently and are willing to come from some distance. Now, what all this means is that you need a tool that's flexible to your particular business. Trade areas are important for retail, of course, but also for other businesses like manufacturing or financial service branches, real estate investment. Alteryx provides out-of-the-box tools that help you create all kinds of trade areas. Alteryx even allows you to enrich your trade areas with demographics or your own customer demographics. Let's take a look. So how do we start a trade area analysis? First, you'll need some locations, like store locations. You can then simply feed those locations into the trade area tools and choose which value you want to draw your trade areas with. Based on that input value, Alteryx will draw the area around each store location, and adding a browse tool will allow you to see the areas on a map. But how do we know what value you should put here? This assumes that all your stores have the same trade area, even those in your downtown locations. How do you know it's 5 miles or 5 minutes? Well, we can use Alteryx to help get at the answer. Most businesses will have some type of customer file with information about, let's say, spending and really what store they spent the money at. This data can be produced by point of sale systems or other data capture tools. Let's look at this example. Here we'll use the join tool to combine our store locations and our customer data based on the ID that customer went to, the store ID that customer went to. Then, using a distance tool, we can accurately calculate how long it took for each customer to travel to the store they went to. And these are not just straight line distances. These are actual drive times, as if someone traversed the actual street network from where they live to where the store is. That's really awesome. By using the Summarize tool, you can average out all those travel times and group them by store location, which gives us the average drive time for each store in our store network based on real customer data. And one thing you may discover is that each store will have a slightly different value. It's not a one-size-fits-all. We can now feed those average drive time values calculated from the distance tool into our trade area tool. And now Alteryx will create and calculate the drive time areas for each store based on the average drive time value of the customers of those stores. Isn't that a lot better than just defining a blanket value? We used our customer data and Alteryx calculations to get a much more accurate understanding of where our customers are coming from. Now, remember I mentioned that if trade areas overlap, you can risk cannibalization of existing locations. And it will also skew trade area demographics that you append because you may be appending data from customers that don't live in that actual area. So to get a better understanding of trade area, you can use the non-overlapping drive time tool, which will take as an input the trade area size from your previous steps and clip them down to show the trade areas whose boundaries are equidistant from the neighboring business location. Now we can take those non-overlapping drive time polygons and append demographics to those new areas that can help us market to customers we may not have gained yet. Using the allocate append tool, we can append some of those demographic variables, like, for example, median age. I can then configure a report map tool to create a map that will show us all my new trade areas colored by the new median age demographics that I just appended. So here you've seen how we can use the powerful distance, trade area, reporting, and demographic tools in Alteryx in combination with our own customer data to produce highly accurate trade areas and learn more about your potential customers. Now, go explore these tools. We can create distance calculations, trade areas, and report maps for free out of the box with Alteryx Designer. If you want to create drive time polygons, reach out to your Alteryx rep to discuss the Location Insights data package. All right, that's it. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Spatial How-To in Alteryx.